So I first learned about Suzanne Giesemann from a Unity minister friend of mine, Darlene Strickland, who is in Asheville, North Carolina, and she shared with me there is a woman that has an incredible, extraordinary story. There's a film about her and her extraordinary story. We're going to be showing that film as part of our summer film series that we have every year here, and it is just delightful to know that she is here on grounds at Unity Village, that she is spending this time and has spent this time at this retreat with these beautiful beloveds that are here in our sanctuary today, and that we have the opportunity to hear you speak, hear your message, and get your message out to more people, because it's a message of love, it's a message of hope, and a message of heart. Thank you for being here. Welcome.
Good morning, everybody. Such a joy to continue the theme that we've been talking about for the last 4 days with many of you here, and it's the theme that we just heard a beautiful song about. Thank you for that. The theme is love, love, love. My favorite topic. I get to talk about it some more. For most of my career, before my current one, I didn't know what spiritual love was, what divine love was. Once I met that man right there, I knew what true love is, but I still didn't know what divine love was, because I wasn't raised that way. And my mother, when she saw me doing my current work, she said, "We didn't raise you that way, Susie." And you'll hear, if you don't know my story, you'll hear about what my current work is in just a minute. But I spent most of my life wearing the same uniform as that man there, but he outranked me. He was a captain. I got to be a commander in the Navy. He was commanding officer of a ship. I commanded a desk. And I'm just so proud of my military career. It was a wonderful way to serve the country. But I didn't foresee what direction my life would take. I did things very much by the book, and I knew what regular human love is, and I knew that that can come and go, but I know love for family. And I fell in love with Ty's daughter, Suzanne, who everybody loved. She was unconditional love. So my whole life took a big turn when, unfortunately, our Suzanne was struck and killed by lightning in 2006. And she was 6 months pregnant at the time. So that was a double blow to our family. And to at the time, think that I had lost Suzanne, because that's all I knew, that perhaps this life is all there is. That was such a devastating blow to our family. And then to see the love of my life drop to his knees in grief, that was a double blow for me. The biggest life changer for me was seeing Suzanne's lifeless body in the coffin, and suddenly knowing, an inner knowing, that I hadn't experienced to that point, that there has to be something more than this life. To see a lifeless body, especially someone who was so vibrant and alive and full of love, look like that, I knew that that was just a body, that was just a vessel, an instrument for love. I love that phrase by the 13th century poet Hafiz, "I am an instrument through which the Christ's breath flows." Or you could just say, "You are an instrument through which love flows." And you would be saying the same thing, wouldn't you? Yeah. So after Suzanne passed, that's when I could no longer deny there must be something else. And I made it my mission in a very military way. See, the commander's still in there, guys. To find out if this thing called a spirit was real, and if, like these people I'd heard called mediums were right, that you could actually communicate with people who had died. And so I took my captain to a medium. He didn't tell me till years later that he didn't even know what a medium was. He just gave that good husbandly answer when I said, "Ty, will you come with me to a medium? Guys, are you listening?" He said, "Yes, dear." And that move changed both of our lives, because we ended up with a medium who brought through evidence that Suzanne was right here with us. evidence that she couldn't possibly have known. She showed up in a brown uniform. She couldn't have known Susan was a sergeant in the Marine Corps. She said she died very suddenly, this young girl in her 20s. We hadn't told her anything. We hadn't given her our last name. Heaven forbid she might Google us and find out in advance things about Susan. I needed to know this was real. I was desperate to know. I had nothing but hope to go on at the time. And all of a sudden, this woman who doesn't know me is giving me this kind of evidence. The thing that pushed it over the top was when she said, and this young woman is bringing with her a little baby boy who she wants to introduce to you, but he's standing back shyly as if he doesn't know you. That would have been Liam Tyler. This is my tie. So I guess I figured out our Susan and Liam are still right here. It changed my life. The left brain side of me said, how can we explain this? The right brain side of me said, love never dies. So I had to know more. I had to spread the word. This is real. Our loved ones really don't die. Love lasts forever. And we'll cut this part of the story real short. Believe it or not, I found out I can talk to those spirits too. So when I talk about a career change, I'm talking about going from Navy commander, aide to the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, commanding officer in the Navy, to a medium, honey. That's somebody who talks to dead people. You figured that out by now? Okay. Couldn't ask for a more supportive partner in this work that I do now, this service that's no longer just to our country, but hopefully to all of humanity, to help everybody know the main message that I've learned, that it's all about love, this life and the afterlife, and that they're one world, and those worlds interpenetrate each other, and that our loved ones who have passed are right here, right here. So I deal with a lot of people who are in a lot of pain, and I see right into their soul. Because that's what you are, a beautiful soul and a human being at the same time. And in fact, the members sitting around you, those who are from the local community, I wish you had joined us earlier in the week when we did this beautiful ceremony where those of us in the retreat, passed each other in two lines and stopped for a moment with each person and looked right in the eyes of each other with our hands over our hearts and said, I see you. And for some, it was a little awkward at first because I asked people to deliberately hold that gaze. And we're not used to doing that, are we humans? We're vulnerable. Somebody might see the things that we hide from everybody, but you know what? They're pretty much the same thing they're hiding from you. We're all human. We all make mistakes. We all just want to be loved. So for that brief ceremony, we said, okay, I'll let you see me because I want to see me in you. And the tears were flowing as we opened our souls to each other. And it was such a special moment. And I wish more of us would do that more often, to see our true nature, who we really are. We are love in a human body. Beautiful. But the problem is we learn from a young age to avert our eyes. We see somebody, don't we? We walk down the street, or strangers don't even meet eyes. You just avert them before you even meet. And that's just the pain, that's just the belief systems from the past that I'm not worthy, or they might see something, or I might see something I don't want to see, and we learn to do that. But we can unlearn that. I had a hard-earned lesson in how pain affects us. It's hard when you deal with people who are hurting all the time. As a medium, I sit with people who are in grief. But I know that if Spirit will work through me in the right way, I can take them from beyond hope that their loved ones aren't gone forever to a place of knowing, oh my God, they're right here. To give that gift is the most amazing gift, and I get to give it all the time. What a blessing. But I do know that hurting people hurt people. And so think about times when you might have lashed out at someone. We all do it. It's kind of built into us. It's in our wiring, so we can't help it sometimes. But if you understand that it comes from pain, then hopefully you can forgive yourself. I understand that hurt people, and I have the permission of someone to share this story with you, that I gave a reading to someone, maybe 4 months ago. I don't know how long ago it was, and it was a good reading. I was very pleased with it. I'm an evidence-based medium. That left brain of me says, if you're like me when we sat with a medium, I need to hear things you can't know about my loved one. So as an evidence-based medium, I want to give you facts about your loved one to show you they're here. And that reading for this woman had lots of good evidence. I remember going, yay, like I do in my readings, when I get a good wow, yay. And some things might have been off, but this woman's loved one gave some messages that were very important that they be delivered. So I felt the job was well done. And in fact, afterwards, we exchanged an email or two of excitement, of honoring that the loved one had been there. So I felt like the legs were taken out from under me when I opened an email from the same email address 24 hours later, and the tone had completely changed. And this person, in their pain, lashed out at me and accused me of being a fraud and other things that cut me straight to the core like a knife. Just left me shaking and trembling, and the human side of me came to the forefront because the accusations went again. It's everything that this work that I do stands for, showing people love. But I've learned, like I said, hurt people, and they don't know what they're doing or where it's coming from most of the time. But I'll tell you what I have learned. When you respond with love instead of what was given to you, it changes everything. When you respond with divine love, not human love. The human side wanted to say, but I gave you this evidence and that evidence and blah, 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 blah. What really bothered me was that I knew that the loved one in the spirit world had come through, and I so wanted her to understand he was really there. So what I do, these kind of things happen once in a while, but this one really got to me, is I sit and I get centered. And we can all do this. Pause and breathe and go to that place where we're all joined right here in the heart, that place of love. And then I ask for that response to come from the soul. And I knew if there was any defensiveness in my reply, that would not be coming from the soul. And I simply sent a reply from love and left it at that. Imagine my surprise that that woman just attended this retreat with us. And we hugged. And we learned together. And we're all in this together. And I see you. And it's beautiful. I love this work. I want you to know we have helpers on high. All of us. None of us are alone. First of all, of course, your loved ones who have passed. They're still right here. Talk to them, please, because they hear you. This is the connection, love, but it doesn't just go out this way, does it? It's a sphere. You are the light. Every thought you have goes out, radiates out from you. What are you radiating to the world? Hopefully it's divine love. I had an experience of how that love truly does radiate out from you. And an experience that showed me that we have helpers on high beyond our loved ones. I was speaking at a Mind, Body, Spirit Expo. And this was in the early days of this work for me. And some people think I'm woo-woo. But I have to tell you, woo-woo is relative. Okay? Because I'm the former Navy officer. That's just for me to talk to these people was pretty woo-woo. But you go to a Mind, Body, Spirit Expo, and you see all levels of woo-woo. okay? And so I gave a talk, and these two ladies came up to me afterwards. They were all excited. Oh, Suzanne, we loved your talk, but did you know that the whole time you were talking, there were these two giant angels standing behind you. They were archangels. And then the two ladies began arguing about which archangel it was, you know? And then they finally decided that one of them was Archangel Azrael, the archangel of death. But that's a good thing because you're a medium, and it makes sense that Archangel Azrael would be standing behind you. And I stood there smiling and said, thank you very much. That's nice, because at that point, I really didn't believe in angels. That was really woo-woo stuff. So I thanked them, and as they turned to leave, their backs were now to me, walking away. Suddenly, I was overcome with this upsurge of love. I don't know where it came from. Well, I didn't then, but here it comes. And the strangest thing happened. These two ladies that I'd never met before, I sent them this thought, I love you. And in perfect response to that silent thought, one of the women turned around and said out loud, I love you too. And I went like this. And I grabbed her by the shoulder. She just turned around after saying that to walk away again. I grabbed her by the shoulder, turned her back around, and I said, why did you just say that just then? And she just kind of went, and walked away. That's love. And love is a vibration, and we all radiate that. You determine how much of that is felt. You don't have to say, I love you, to be felt. When I do a reading, I set myself up for success. Not that I want to look like the world's greatest medium. I want to be here for the spirit world. I want this to go well so that their loved ones know, yes, this is them. They're here. And I learned that I have to set the right conditions. I learned it the hard way. Sitting with this woman, back when I did my readings always with my eyes closed, I said, well, I'm sensing a father here. And I feel like he passed from a heart attack. And the woman says, no. And, well, I feel like he passed in his older, he's very older. It's kind of dim. And she says, no. And I'm thinking, oh, this is not good. Don't like this. And I opened my eyes and I looked at her, and she's sitting there like this. And I understood all of a sudden what was going on. And this is what I mean by setting yourself up for success. I said, I need you to do me a favor. This is all about the energy. Will you please uncross your arms and open your heart? Think the most loving thoughts you can, thoughts of gratitude. Send that outward. I'm going to do the same. Let's do that together. And I'm going to do this again. So we both took a deep breath, radiated love, and all of a sudden, whoa, you have a husband who passed. She goes, yes. Oh, he passed from an aneurysm. It burst. It was very sudden. He didn't get to say goodbye. Yes, and now she's crying, and now I understood. This was not skepticism or anger. This was pain. This was fear that she wouldn't hear from her beloved soulmate. And what changed that energy? What allowed him to ride in on the waves of love? Her opening to who she really is, the presence of love. How awesome is it to know that you can do that? She wasn't special. She's just like every one of us. I'm not special. I just spent a lot of time sitting in the silence after Susan passed every day. Not a lot of time every day. It's cumulative. And that opened me up to knowing I am the presence of love. I am an instrument through which the Christ breath flows. It opened me up to knowing why all of us are here, to let our soul shine. Shine. We just had a closing ceremony where each person walked down a gauntlet of our fellow retreat members, eyes closed, totally vulnerable, as our fellow retreat members reached out and said something loving or gave a loving gesture. We all had the experience of being unconditionally loved. Can you imagine if all of us had that experience regularly? We would see each other differently. I can't believe I'm going to tell you this story because I try to bring credibility to mediumship, but thank God there's evidence, or I would never share it. I want to tell you about Andrew. His brother contacted me and said, I'm on a precipice. That sounded kind of scary. And I need to have a reading. So I took him right away. And right away I sensed, you have a brother who passed. And he's showing me he had a glioma. And his brother said, no, glioblastoma. So he's right here. His name's Andrew, on the other side. And he brought through all kinds of evidence. I remember his brother Matthew, present, said, does my brother have any advice for me? I checked. Yeah, he says you need to get up off the couch, get some fresh air, and clear the chemicals out of your system. And Matthew said, yeah, depression and addiction, my two major challenges. You see the evidence even in the message from across the veil. So that was a life-changing reading for Matthew. He got the chemicals out of his system. He became a yoga instructor. He's doing great. And we got to know his family, and we got to visit his family in their home with Andrew's mom and dad in the home where Andrew was a little kid. So it was really great to meet Mark and Ann, and Ty was standing with me in the dining room talking to Mark. Ann was out in the kitchen. And we're just chatting. I had felt Andrew around, but no real communication yet from him. When all of a sudden, the family cat ran through the room in a flash and stopped. And I looked down, and darned if that cat wasn't wearing a Superman cape. And Andrew said, I'm in here. Sounds a little woo-woo, doesn't it? I had never seen such a thing before. A Superman cape superimposed on a cat. But I knew Andrew. I'd met him before in the spirit world. And I excused myself from the men silently. I said, I'll be right back. I went to the kitchen and I found Ann and I said, excuse me, Ann, did Andrew used to run around the house like Superman? And she said, oh my God, he thought he was Superman. He had the Superman cape that he wore from age 3 to age 7. You want to see a picture? He wore it out. He was Superman at Halloween, at slumber parties. Why do you ask? And I said, well, it's because he's here now, and he wants you to know that when he misses your touch, which is the only part of you he misses because he's right around you, he just blends his consciousness, his soul, with your cat's consciousness. And that cat gets to rub up against you, and he gets to feel you again. Because he showed me this Superman cape on a cat. And the mom said, oh my God, we got that cat just after he passed, and that cat snuggles with us in bed just like Andrew used to do. So I love that. I stand up here and I look at all of you and I see your soul and it's saying, I'm in here. And you know what your soul came here to do? Shine. Shine. To radiate its true essence, which is what? Whoa, that wasn't good enough. What did you come here to do? Shine love, right. Shine and shine love, absolutely. Remember this lady, okay? Do you want to choose to be like this? Or do you want to open your light to the world? Shine your light in all directions. That is why we're here. The title of this talk is, what does love have to do with it? Everything. Everything. It is so healing. So the next time you want to respond to fire with fire, the next time somebody hurts you, pause. Remember who's inside. The soul. You don't become a soul when you pass from this life. You are one now. That is the breath that flows through you. It never forgets. The soul's light just gets a little bit clouded with all that pain. But it's right there. Just breathe and find it. Meanwhile, why don't you do me a favor? And remember that the soul in that other person will reflect back at you exactly the love that you want. So don't avert your eyes next time. Right? I see you. Thank you.